I'm trying to record us on all levels.
Oh, okay, cool, cool. Nobody has taught us how to relate. Like, there's no more Dr. Ruth right now. You know what I'm saying? When I grew up, I had Dr. Ruth. We had Dr. Ruth, and I used to love Dr. Ruth. I was like, yo, Dr. Ruth is on. And it's only because she addressed those things that were quote unquote considered taboo. So if you imagine not being prepared for a race you're trying to run,
Hmm.
you're going to have some pitfalls. You're going to mess up. You're going to make a fool of yourself. You're going to embarrass yourself, and then it'll be up to you to decide. Hey, am I going to get back up and keep trying, or am I just going to let it beat me down to where I get triggers, right?
Hmm.
So moving back to what I said about communication, what I deal with is the 70% of communication that is nonverbal. 70%, 30% is verbal, 70% is nonverbal. So I
Hmm.
deal with that space. So if we just take that 30% and move it to the side and open up that 70% space. You got body language, you got energies, you have different self bodies, you have programming, all these things that communicate with each other
Hmm.
but are not being said. So we try to focus on bringing clarity and awareness to that part of the relationship, so much so that it can be very foundational. People have issues with, just like how you said, social upbringing, things happen to them in puberty, being ostracized, emasculated, all these isms that causes energy blockages. And not all energy blockages, or not all relationships just come to me, they got problems. Sometimes they're just bored. Like, yo,
Hello.
we've been married for a long time. It's good, but it could be, it's kind of monotonous. We want some spice in our life to take us through the next so many years. And that the video now. Hey mom tour, Geo, podcast, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. And so, it's not always negative, because I don't like to always harbor on negative, but it can be something to spice up life as well, right?
Yeah.
So, not all my clients usually have a problem that some of them just want to spice it up. But to bring out a bit of social proof into the mix, there was a Harvard study. And that Harvard study was done in 1920. They took 720 men and they followed them through their life. They're still doing it. It is the longest study in U.S. history. They took men from good backgrounds, bad backgrounds, poor, educated, rich, non-educated, all over, and they followed them. They interviewed them. They interviewed their family, and they recorded these things. And they said, the one thing that keeps people living happier, healthier, longer lives, and a quality of life, if they had this one thing together by the age of 50, then they were guaranteed to be happier, longer, healthier, all the way up until, and it's still ongoing. These people are in their 90s now. And that
Hmm.
one thing was good relationships. So,
Hello.
what makes a good relationship? Nurturing relationships, affectionate relationships, and dedication relationships. They had those three things together in the age of 50, they were guaranteed to live happier longer than those who did all the way up into their 90s. So that, when I tell people that, we need to get really granular on what's important. And if we focus on these three things and build an energy perspective about it, then the rest will follow through. So I've been doing this for over 10 plus years. I've helped hundreds of men get over their trauma. I help hundreds of women become multi-orgasmic. I've helped, couples stay together, but it all boils down to effective nonverbal communication to establish nurturing relationships, dedicated relationships, and that's their thing. Nurturing, dedication, and affection.
Hmm. That's something that you say that because it was just like Sometimes in relationships, I find that as women, we already come programmed, so we expect men to already know. And that's a part of the problem because a lot of men weren't raised the same way. And it's just like when you're in a relationship with someone, you're expecting them to act a certain way, and that's not the way that they act, and that's not the way, that's not who they are. Like, how are you imposing something onto someone that, you know, this is not Instagram. Like, you're a lot of times we have this idea that everything is Instagrammable, and this relationship that we're in is supposed to be Instagrammable, and whoever you with, that person might not be with the whole script. Like, it's just it's a very interesting topic because it's just like a lot of times you want this guy to be your, how they call it, you want him to be your Prince Charming, but he can't be Prince Charming because you're expecting somebody else. And it's just like, well, who did you marry? Like, who are you really with? And that's one of the things that I like about your course is that you actually go in and you really get together with these couples and you figure out, their parallels. Like, what is it that I have that you don't have, or what's going on with you? Because it's just like, if you don't know my love language, if you don't know how I love intimacy, if you don't know how to touch me, how am I going to connect with you? And that's one of the things I found when I was going through a lot of the research, because I was like, man, somebody got to break this down. And I'm like, here's Savannah breaking it down. And I'm just like, you can't expect a man to be your father, and you can't expect a woman to be, you know, your woman, your mom. And a lot of times you get in these relationships and you're expecting people to be those opposite people or somebody else that you've experienced. And then it's just like one of the things that I love that you go over in your course is that you do the dowsing. How is dowsing, like when a person comes together with their loved one? How do you bring in dowsing into the whole situation? Because I was just like, wait a minute, I know I'm on a whole different vibe by myself. So it's just like, I know whoever with me, they have to deal with all of this. But, when you have control of who you are as a person, that person might, how should I say, receive you more if you get that energy in control. It's not about just, making yourself less than, or, how some people say, oh, I'm changing for you, blah, blah, blah. No, when you're in a relationship, you have to relate. So, how is the dowsing in the course done? How can a couple benefit from the dowsing?
Well, okay, so let's establish what is dowsing. So dowsing is a form of radiesthesia, and what that means is, layman's term, is that ability to perceive what is not visually seen through the eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
So dowsing can be used to ask questions and get information. It can be used to track things like objects or energy, detrimental energy that may be in the home that you didn't know about. It can also be used to find hidden objects, things like that nature. So let's say, no, I don't want to get any too much into the thing, too big.
I got a question for you, child.
So when I do my course is that I like to teach people how to fish, right? The goal is for you not to need me. I mean, not the fact that I don't need it, but the goal is to teach people how to fish. So when I do the dows and teach them how to douse, once you get this skill down, your intuition gonna go 10x. Your stuff, your whole script, it's gonna 10x. Because when you douse, you tap into your higher self, and that's when the rods move. They don't start moving until you go into theta. And what theta is when it is a state, it is a more meditative state above alpha. So you have these Buddhist monks that go into meditation and realms. So when you're using a dowsing rod, you're working that muscle each and every time you pick up those rocks. So naturally, as you use the weight, it gets stronger and stronger. So that is one of the benefits of dowsing. And dowsing is only limited to your imagination. You can do this for anything. You can measure auric fields, you can measure auric colors. I mean, you can get real creative with it. So when I bring it to my course, I tell them what I just told you, how your imagination is your limitation, and your intuition and your clairvoyant skills will come so much online once you start dowsing. But the caveat and how I get them there is like, once you do the introductory tantra stuff, you learn about the master masculine, you learn about the master feminine, you learn about your ego triggers and when you get in that triggers, and then we do some reflexology to help you release some of those old wounds and isms that you have, that you're bringing from the past into the current relationship. And so once you do all of that, and you've done all this good work, you've done the work, he's done the work, you guys are starting to, be in synchronicity, things are happening, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you hear stuff like, well, we haven't been able to do this in so many years, and our relationship has never been so closer, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's okay. Now we put these nice, clean vessels into a dirty space, and we still expect you to be clean. That
Mm-hmm.
really doesn't kind of work. So you kind of have to clean the space as well once you
Mm-hmm.
do the cleaning. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does anybody understand what I'm saying? So it's like you did all this work to prepare this fine wine, and then you put the wine in a dirty wine glass, and you expect still to have the opulence while you sipping on some wine from a dirty wine glass. So we have to clear this space as well. So when I teach the dowsing, I teach either the man or the woman who's ever taken the class, or I teach both. I don't have a problem with that. How to just move these energies to a point where the space is clear too.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a guy, his name is Dr. Hartman. He's a real MD. He studied over 4,000 cancer patients. He realized if 30% of these cancer patients just moved where they rested or where they worked at off of these negative energies, then they wouldn't even have the cancer, or they would have recovered from cancer way faster. Or because there are certain energies that are just not good for us to live on. So that's what I do, and that's the last piece of what I lay on top. So we teach you about self, we teach you about your partner, and then we teach you about your environment, because all of this is essential. And dowsing is not something new. I mean, in other countries, it's very respected.
Mm-hmm.
In the Orient, they know it as feng shui, even though it's more commercial now. But you can still find some old feng shui masters who know very much about the earth energies around here. Dowsing was found in Egypt. Some of the tombs, pharaohs' tombs in Egypt had dowsing tools in there. Cleopatra was a dowser. Even in Europe and in South America, Isaac Newton was a dowser. Einstein was a dowser. Everybody's talking about Nicholas Tesla. Guess what? He was a dowser. So these things, because they train the brain and the body to tap into the higher realms of self.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that answered your question.
It does. It did. Thank you very kindly. My next question for you, since we're on a roll, um,
Edgar and Kazi.
hmm?
Edgar and Kazi.
Edgar.
Yeah, so does anyone have any questions? Do you have any
I'm
questions?
like, yeah. Anybody got any questions? Well, let's see, I only see. I don't know how many people you see on your side. I only see one.
Yeah. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Um. me see. Okay, this is a very huge topic that's happening right now, and I see it happening a lot. There's a lot of people that do not have work life balance. They're juggling demanding careers, side hustles, and personal time can strain relationship as couples find time for each other. So I I have this one client that I talk to from time to time, and it kind of like it went from the role of me being, a massage therapist or healer or whatever, to that of more of like a consultant. I was like, I feel like I'm consulting, but it's just like in this day and time, especially with some of my clients, I hear the same story. It's just like you work for a job for 20 certain years, and after the 20 something years, they just throw you away, and you put your whole life into this job where you didn't spend time with your family. You don't even know these people. And that's where, when the pandemic happened, people were like home in front of everybody's face, like, what do I do with you? Like, no, you need to go find you something else to do because you're not usually here. So what would you say to your clients when it comes to work life balance?
There's no such thing as work-life balance. We have work harmony,
Okay.
but there's no such thing as balance. People work more than they do hobbies, play. You work a long time. The thing is to establish harmony with it.
Mm-hmm.
That means prioritizing. I have one of the things that I like to tell people is like get like a journal. Like I have my journal,
Uh-huh.
and get an apparatus or whatever that you check in to see where you're at and what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
You can also get an accountability partner. I have accountability. Watching is my accountability partner, right?
Hey.
Right. To keep you in balance, because I do have a tendency to work too much, right? I have a workaholic tendency, and that's why one of the reasons why I started a journal and started getting an accountability partner, because that offset is what you need so that you don't get too much into the grind and trying to achieve and be somebody in this fame driven society. Another thing that you could do is, just the basic self care. If you have a self care regimen,
Mm-hmm.
that'll do so much right there to keep the balance in your life than any other. Because when you love self first, then you can get to others effectively. This society is set up to where it's all about the I, and the I is not I as in self. It is I as the company. What's best for the business? We leave self-care off of the back burner because
Mm-hmm.
you're working long hours, you have this project, you're trying to get ahead, you're trying to beat the other person, you have this position, everybody's gunning up for this position, you know, and life's other stuff in life starts to whittle away. But if you establish that self-care balance, one, it keeps you on a regimen, and two, you become more accountable with yourself. So whether that's Tai Chi, yoga, exercising, getting massages, getting your nails done, whatever, on a routine basis, just so you can stop just enough to see what really is important. So yes, unfortunately, we live in a society where we work a lot, and so the key is to balance those things, not so much to have. I mean, not balance, not so much to have um, balance, but harmony. Doing a little bit of each. My dad, he would tell me, he's like, when life gets a lot and you have a lot on your plate, you just eat a little bit and scoot it over, put a little bit more. Eat a little bit, scoot a little bit, put a little bit more. Eat a little bit, scoot a little, put a little more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. That's what I tell them. That's what I tell them. You know, nobody wants to wait till you retire to have a good life. By the time you retire, you have a good life. unless you have some type of people in place or type of exercise regimen, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna pass away within the next few years. When people retire, that's usually when they pass away because they're sitting down. They don't have the same relationship. This when I go back to that relationship thing. They don't have the same relationship friends that they did. So the transition never happened. The harmony never happened. They're just sitting down now, as opposed to they used to be walking 2 or 3 miles a day. You were walking, so you were working, and now you're not. Again, establishing that transition to know that life is not all about that corporate or that business.
Yeah. And like sometimes I could say for my own self, it was a point where I was just working and, going back home, take a trip or two. But I was living my life like a soldier. It was just like, okay, this is it. Because after a while, you just get kind of like monotony. Like, okay, what else is there to life to offer? But it's just like when you find somebody to share your life with, you just don't treat them just like they're an object. Because I find like a lot of people, it's just like they be in a relationship with someone just to make them feel like they're not alone. But it's just like, what is the whole relationship about? And then it's just like, I ain't gonna kid you, I've been hearing some crazy story with some of these men. But some men, they would actually go to work just to avoid being with their wife. I was just like, wow, you that bad in a relationship that your husband had to leave just to.
Which goes back to what I said earlier. There is no training for relationships. You train for your job. You have a little bit of books and stuff for how to be a parent or whatever. You train to drive. You know what I'm saying? You do all these trainings to do things in life, but once it comes to relationship, it's like you just some people just be like, oh well, he'll just fall from the sky, and then just you know. I always imagine having children. I just assume that the man would come with it. Yeah, it's all it is needing to be revamped.
Yeah, and that's why I was just like, because my whole thing is that's one of the reasons, huh?
Which is true too, because I have a son, so I don't want him to go through that. So it's like, okay, well, what are the things that he needs to know in order to even look for
Mm-hmm.
someone who is of a
Mm-hmm.
decent caliber, right? And then be that person that person wants to be with. So you know what I'm saying? There's definitely a lack of relationship training here right now.
Well, that was the whole reason why I was like, we got to get this together because I was just like, yo, I was like, we have so much of knowledge that needs to be out here. And I was just like, you know how the people say, they say, if you don't like what's going on, do something about it. So I was like, let's go live then. Let's talk about this
Right.
stuff. Because a
Definitely.
lot of people don't want to really unpack this because, oh, I'm going to hurt somebody's feeling or I'm not politically, correct. But, you know, these relationships these days are not going the way that people have planned. Like, why are you going through divorce? Did you because my whole thing is, when you like, I've treated all my relationships in the past as like, whoever I'm with, I treat them like they're my friend, my bear. When I look at my childhood and I said, whoever was my friend, I had to show them how to be a friend to me. So if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I'm going to show them first how to have fun with me. Then I'm going to show them how to, have fun in their own way. Because you don't need to be around me all day. Because it's draining. There has to be balance. Then after that, it's kind of like, can we be a friend? Do you know how to be a friend? And I would show them how to do that. So it's just like, it's that aspect, but then also, far as the relationship side, it's just like, I had to get out of the Instagram mode. Like, my relationship's supposed to be on Instagram. I gotta take this picture of us. We're at the dinner table. Let's take it. Smile. Let's do this. Oh, you look good. I look good. And I'm just like, really? And then it was just like, Some people I'm okay with being, you know, and then some people are like, you just don't give this vibe for this. So, and then it's just like I could, just record myself all day because it's just me because I love looking at me all day because I'm like, ooh, girl look good, the girl look good. But other than that, it's just like being in a relationship. You have to relate to people. Like, can I relate to you? Can I talk to you? Can I have a one-on-one conversation? And then I'm always the one that always try to push you there. You look frozen. Oh, you not. I was like, girl, you almost look frozen. But it's just like sometimes when you're in a relationship with someone, you want to be there and be present. And sometimes you could go on a dinner date and you feel like you're totally alone. Like, what the heck just happened? And it's just kind of like, what is it that you would advise somebody if they're in a relationship with somebody and they feel alone? Next question. Because I see it a lot. Like, we're out on a perfect date. Ooh, and he has no social awareness that I'm alone. He has no clues on how to engage with me. And we're just sitting here. Why did I come out? Why did I get Why did I get all this glammed up and you're not even you're not even.
Well, okay, there's a few things going on, and then I can tell you how to best reach out to me on Instagram and social media. One is, okay, so let's look at the self. What are you attracting? Like, you attracted that in your space. So that talks about broadcast. So for women have what is called a womb imprint or womb broadcast. So the first three men that they ever slept with, in theory now, that's if you keep it going unless you change it. But let's say you don't change it. First three men you slept with, that's the type of man you're going to be attracting unless you work really hard to change your programming. So if that man is in your space and you come to me and say, well, he ain't paying no attention to me, I was all yeah, I mean everybody else is paying attention to me. I said, okay, well, who is he like in your past relationship where you first started thinking that was okay to share your energy with that person? Let's start there. And start from there, we can pull whatever trigger is there to where you now your broadcast is different. Like you will come to a point where, you know, men like that won't be in your space, or men like that won't be attracted to you, or men like that you will know that instantly that's not the type of man I wish to date. Okay? Now let's say you guys are married and he's like that.
Exactly. That's what I'm like. That's why I'm.
So let and we don't want to put it quite, break up and stuff like that. Well, that's in the second caveat is where, relationship training. I was just talking about this today. It's like, look, if you're upset with this and he's upset with this and therapy is not working, maybe you should try changing the medicine, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the medicine is not working, well, maybe you should try changing the medicine. Not all the time does therapy work. Couple therapy doesn't necessarily work. Sometimes you have to do a little things outside of the box, which is such as tantra. Tantra is something that is outside of the box. Tantra is something that, Tantra is the art of weaving masculine and feminine together to create healing, bliss, and manifestation. So when you're having these issues and you go through it in a educational way, that way you're learning about you, changing you, and he's learning about him, changing him, and you guys are working together in tandem. That way you guys are going the same way and you're not necessarily equally yoked, but you guys are at least growing. the time therapy is going to work. Sometimes you may need a tantra class or some other conscious relating something different than what is already not working. And then it comes to, okay, well, I'm doing work and he's in the class, but our sex life is still like, okay, you, again, take it, Corey. Get into the class. Learn about it. Because, again, we weren't taught those things. Those things have to be learned. There's no magic button.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, oh, the one day the light switches on and now he just magically knows what to do and all of this. It's not like that. You have to work, you have to put in flight time. Just like how it is with the marriage. It's just flight time in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of therapy is like, okay, we'll interact, talk about it, think about it and all this. Tantra is strictly energy. It's like, how do you feel? What came up for you? Does this feel good? Does this not feel good? Oh, I had this experience, which was negative, and when you did that, it came up. Okay, well, let's deal with that. But it's not just negative, it's just pleasurable. Oh, now he knows about my erogenous stones. Now he knows that I'm more than just a clitoral orgasm. I have more in me to give, and I now know that there's more to give, so now I'm not bored. Well, then I can feel good about too, because now I know how to please my woman. And now that I know how to please my woman, guess what? That's spilling over into other stuff in my life. Men don't talk about this stuff, and women don't talk enough about this stuff. So again, they have problems, self, dealing with the self, dealing with the person, and then talk about joining something together. Because it's always good to join with a friend or with your mate. That way you're not alone and you guys can have accountability partner. And it's fun. I mean, this stuff is fun. This is not just boring textbook stuff. I mean, this is some good stuff. And you deserve it to be good. It is your divine right to have good pleasure. It is your divine right to have good relationships on all levels. And once you get certain things right, the other things just fall into place. I'm trying to tell you, the other things just fall into place. So,
Hello. And then one of the things I wanted to interject too is, especially when you're dealing with when you're relating to people and you're trying to develop your relationship more, everything is not always gonna be right. It's just like, how sometimes you can overanalyze stuff and you just have to let stuff be. So it's just like, for the people that are like, oh, you did this. Oh, so we need to do this. Oh, if you did this, you need to do that. And it's just like, wait a minute. You just have to be present and learn what that person is trying to teach you. Learn what that person is, came into your life for.
I'm cooking y'all, so you got to excuse me.
Don't burn it, child. Don't burn it. She's a cooking lady. And that's another thing. I find a lot of people don't spend time cooking for their love. I mean, there's so many things that you could show love with cooking. If you don't know how to cook, you could go to a grocery store and find something that's already pre-cooked, put it in the oven, and act like you know how you done did that. Let me see. Let me get back to my question. One of the things, going back over what you said about the dousing and stuff, because what I found, when I've when I've heard a few stories from different people, is that when a person is in a relationship with someone, right? Especially, I find this happens with a lot of women. So this one guy came to me. He said that I think he married this lady, or he was actually in a relationship with her. And the lady actually her ex had passed away. And she actually had the ex's picture in the room. And I'm just like,
In the bedroom? No.
yes. Yes. So how would you say, far as energetic, because, huh?
I said it's not good juju at all.
But I'm telling you, girl, I be hearing these things. I be like, what she did? What? Whoa! So it's just almost as if she never processed or got over their relationship, and she's bringing it into the new relationship. So I'm just like, how would you approach that if you? Because I've seen where a lot of other people, it's just like they said to have respect and honor for people, but it's just like you're in a whole different new relationship with somebody and you still have parts of this person in the house. And that's one of the things, like with me personally, like if I bought a certain lingerie for a specific person, I would actually take it to the Goodwill. If I haven't used it or anything, I'll just take it to the Goodwill and give it to the Goodwill, or I'll just throw it out if I've used it. But even with some of the items and stuff that are excuse me. I ain't talked this long in a while. But a lot of times, if some that's why I don't really like people giving me things, because that's just like, if I remember you, nope. I just want to remember my own personal thoughts. But it's just like, if someone has bought me something, say for instance, one of my lovers bought me something. If it ended wrong, oh, it's getting tossed. It is getting tossed. And it's also too where I don't want to remember that person where that oversteps or oversees my life, where especially if I'm in a relationship with somebody else. Can't hear you.
Sorry, I was talking to my son, telling him
Oh.
dinner is a bit late, but yeah. Okay, so if somebody passed away, came into my space, and they they are how do I put that? They are they're having okay, so there's nothing wrong with giving reverence to the dead. However, the dead should not be with the living.
Mm-hmm.
So places where we like the living room, where we make love, especially when you make love. Um, um, Places where we frequent a lot is not ideal for when you are giving respect to ancestors or those loved ones that have passed away. Another thing is, some people don't heal enough, and in that case, either A, I would give them a reading, B, find out what is a better area to move that location to, and C, teach them how to communicate better with the loved one that's transitioned. So even though she probably put it in the bedroom because that is the most intimate space in the house. So she was very close to that person. However, it's not, remember how we talked about energies? Some energies are good, but they're not good for us to live upon. So her moving that space to a more ideal space, and not only and having them see the rods move, that kind of like helps people get over it and see, okay, it really is an ideal space right there. But then giving them tools in which they can still foster that communication, so they don't feel too much of a sense of loss, but more so a change of things. So I teach them how to talk with their ancestors, how to talk with people who have passed on. It's not so much of a dowsing thing as it more so is a spiritual thing. And then, and then once she gets to a place like that where she's comfortable, definitely she needs some table work. And then they can like do some tantra, learn some tantra, and then learn to have table work or do table work or energy work to each other and foster that relationship. And in time, you know, she may learn to let that go. In Japanese cultures, they have what is called Shinto shrines. And Shintos are really small shrines in which women who have either miscarried or had babies and didn't make it all the way to full term, and they need like that emotional support, like they can't let go just yet. And so the Shinto shrine serves as that designated thing like their child. So the Shinto shrine will have clothes, toys, um, they'll go visit the Shinto shrine and have food and things of that nature. And until the mother can get to a certain point where she can actually fully release that child, to the afterlife, to either A, be reincarnated or stay in the afterlife. But the point is, it's a process of healing and a right way to do it to where it's not damaging other parts of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. That's also another thing that, I was just like, I'm just going through with the situations that come to me. I'm like, hey, I know who has answers to this stuff, because some of this stuff just really, you know, it really collides a lot most of the time, and it, like, I see a lot of relationships destroyed by it. But the next thing that I wanted to ask you is, how can a couple build intimacy and physical connection?
Touch, presence, being present.
But what if you got somebody that don't like being touched? Because I've seen a lot, like I've.
Then if that's a tough sell.
I know. That's why I'm asking you. I'm like, yo, I see it all the time. I'm like,
in order to be nurturing, it involves touch.
it don't. Not everybody's relationship with their mother has nurturing. Sometimes it's just negative. So then, because I've, huh?
Right, which goes back to what I said in the first time. The first one is not doing the self work, releasing those traumas and pebbles that are stuck, right, to where we are whole and complete. Because as a whole and complete person, you want to be touched. Babies die if they don't get touched. Like, you don't pick up a baby and they will die.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So being touched and being tribal with what our design is as a human being. So when things happen to where, okay, I don't want to be touched, that's not my love language, and that might not be your love language. But when you have a baby, you're gonna need to touch that baby. When you have, when you make love, nobody's just doing this. Don't touch me, girl. Just don't even touch that. Just think about it. Nobody does that. It requires touch in order to be close. Your energy feels touched. If me and you were sitting beside each other, your auric field is touching my auric field, even though we're not physically touching,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you have to be okay with having it's called being vulnerable to the space.
Now you just said something, because not vulnerability is something that men are very scared about.
Right, because they've been conditioned that vulnerability is weak. So there's a bit of deprogramming coming that's going to come, which again caveats back to what I said about getting rid of the isms, getting rid of the masculinization, getting rid of the family trauma, the family DNA curses, and so that you can show up well and how you were designed to do. But in order to get to that point, it requires knowledge and awareness now, at one point, and then to energetically remove it. Whether it's you saying affirmations 3 times a day for the next 21 days to 90 days, to whether you go onto someone's table and get, Nikki will do it, Tasha body work, Nikki will do it, whether you do initiation or whether you do self work and be like, okay, this thought is no longer serving me. Let me change that thought so I won't have that thought or the dendrite pattern. Either way, there's going to be some type of work involved to get that done because you've been going this way for so long, and I guarantee you, I don't know, marriages don't last that. I mean, the average marriage is 2 years now. Like that's like the normal. So if you're trying to get past and above all the rigmarole, we're going to have to change the medicine. We're going to have to do things a different way.
Mm.
You want to change in your life, you've got to make change in your life. But sometimes that's scary. But unless you go through the scariness, there is no growth. You know, people don't grow and be great by being, oh, Steve, it's okay. I'll try again another game. No, they go through that shit. You gotta go through type reason, or if it's an abundant type reason. Now, if you're, if you're immunodeficient, you're always touching, the enzyme, these all these germs, messing with my immune system, and I could get sick and die. I understand. But if your thing is you don't want to be touched because your mother never taught you how to touch, there's training for that. There's knowledge around to get that for. If you don't want to be touched because the last time you touched, it was a freaking disaster, and your ego was just destroyed because the person may have laughed at you and said, "What are you doing?" or just laughed at the whole situation, make you feel horrible. That is an energy signature. Let's get you on the table. Let's pull that energy out. You know what I'm saying? If there's a reason like, oh well, I'm not as endowed as I think I should be. Again, training and awareness. There's so that you should see my video. The little is now the big. The little is now the new big. And I talk about the different aspects of energy and how you can use it to extend yourself and have other people feel past what is in the physical flesh. But you wouldn't know that unless you trying to be outside the box and get trained. So there's a workaround for that, but people have to be willing to work. You gotta put in that fight time.
And how would you create intimacy?
You start small. You start with the understanding. They tell me their story. They get it all out. Then come up with a game plan. That game plan involves them being vulnerable. And through the vulnerability, they get growth. And from the growth, they'll realize that the life they were living was so much isolated and restricted versus the growth and joy and fulfillment that they feel now. All because A, mindset change, two, a new skill set that came online, and you institute the new skill set with the mindset in order to get life that you deserve. Because again, good relationships on all levels is your divine right. So it is in you to have that. You just have to remember that.
Okay.
That being said, let's go ahead and close that out. Go ahead, why don't you give us a way to get in touch with you if we want to get in touch with you, get a massage or get a meditation. How would we reach in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me with the Symphony Room at thesymphonyroom.com, or you can go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I have a Twitter, and also I think that's about it. But mostly thesymphonyroom.com. You can go ahead and book your appointment and everything.
That's awesome.
And the link is attached to, my page and everything. So
Right. It's in your Instagram bio.
yes, I don't have my link tree yet, but I'm getting it. I have it. I'm working on it.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah.
And if you want to get in touch with me, you can go follow me on couplingandycowry.com. My link is in the bio. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all the coupling and the cowry.com. I do appreciate all of you who came and joined us. Thank you so much. Give a last minute shout out, Charlotte, Jinkle, Charlotte, Jinx, Julius, sorry, Kuzi Son, Jackie Nimba, Edgar, Lynn Toy, Ali, KOR Red, Ali, 3LK3AOD99920. Thank you so much for joining us. We do plan on doing this again, and we shall see you soon. Take care.
Bye. All right. Let me see how to end this. Mm-hmm. Hey, how you doing?
It was okay. It's okay. How you feel?
Girl,
You okay?
I'm tired, child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand that one. I'm glad we got it done. You're so pretty. I saw my friend. The thing was so pretty.
Huh?
How did it render? Did it render good?
You
Did
said
it render
what?
good? Did it render well?
It did. I had to figure this out though.
What part do you need help with, or you got it, or you want to do it another time?
Hold on.
I'm gonna put my hair up, wash my face before I get too tired. You know how that goes.
And you know it.
We'll be teaching tomorrow. Make sure I get some rest. Teaching these children. What did you eat for dinner?
I didn't eat.
You should stop what you're doing right now.
That's what you say. I call myself eating something, but that's when we start recording, so
Yeah, and we can make it. I don't know about weekly, because I don't even think I can do weekly. Definitely can do monthly. Definitely can do monthly. I love my friend's bangs curls. My curl dropped all the way down. I was like, what is the point of this right here? The man right here.
I'm trying to figure out how to save it or download it.
You know what? That's a good show. Man, I don't even remember. He gave it to me. How did I do that? I have no idea. Because they always buy and they always had a copy, but I never did Instagram on that. Crap.
But that went really good to me.
I'm glad. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I think if I wasn't cooking, I'd probably enjoy it more. But I did enjoy my. I think the next one will be a little bit more calm down. It did kind of fly.
It did. That's why I was yawning. I was like, "Ooh, girl."
Yeah. You still feel like yawning now? Are you excited? Are you all the way awake now?
I'm awake. I probably do some more recording because I was just like, "Hey, I need to keep this up."
Okay. Yeah. I understand. And make sure my son stay on track. Otherwise, he'll be up all night. He'll be crazy in the morning. Make sure you eat. Take your medication. Take a shower. Smell like you took a shower. Oh, you heard that, huh?
You are hilarious. Let me see if it downloaded.
Okay. How do you get all this? You must have chat GTP on your phone. Because when you be firing stuff away, I was like, dang, how did she get that so fast? She just was talking about it.
And I had my computer is right here.
Oh, it's the Apple. Apple can text and from the web real easy, right?
Yep.
So I go for my next round on Saturday. I was supposed to leave Tuesday, but an emergency came up and I had to postpone.
Mhm.
So I leave out on Saturday for another round.
What you doing?
Just couple thing again. Another intensive.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah. So doing that. Hopefully they'll give me a testimony. Hopefully they'll give me a video testimony. I'm trying to get a video table session done. Either I get on the table or they get on the table and we record it. So I can use that to promote my services.
Yeah, you need those. I don't know how this Instagram works. But it got us up there.
Yeah? Does it not have it to where it can be downloadable?
It does. Okay, it's downloading now.
Okay, good.
I just wish it would download on my thingy majiggy. I think we was on it for a good hour, so.
Yeah, that's a nice little list. That's about, if we did it right, that's about 30 videos right there.
Yeah, that's why I said, hey, let me just go on and. I guess it's too much information.
Crunching and munching. Crunching and munching.
Mm-hmm.
Crunching and munching. Okay. I started my cycle today.
Oh, Lord. That's called Take It Easy. Take it easy. Let us see what we get on Facebook. Let me paste this link.
All right. So I thought about, you can tell me what you think. Some of these Facebook groups, like the relationship advice and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I went on one of them last week or the week before last, and this girl, she seemed like she had a bona fide scenario. She's like, "Look, I need advice on this. Can somebody, help me?" I was like, that's some real stuff. So I got out my dowsing rod and I dialed it for it. I was like, "Let me dial this for you. This is what I got." Da 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 da. I said, "Wait a minute. Maybe I should do that instead of doing the readings. Maybe I should do that." Because on TikTok, you can change your background. You know how people change their background?
Mm-hmm.
I already see that, like they're cooking or something, and they critiquing and cooking. Ain't doing nothing, just critiquing and cooking. So maybe I should do that. Only with anonymous posts. That way I keep integrity. Got my dating spider, a little dating thing that I just need to pay attention to a little bit more. But we ended up driving to Louisiana. We drove 12 hours there, 12 hours back yesterday. We did it quick. All right, I can do this. School started, and then we have to get back. See that school, and we missed between the days on the head.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to burn my food. Oh, he brought me back my Samsung. Okay, so let's see if this works. He straight took my phone, child. What's wrong with these children? If I can get the Samsung to work, then I have another camera. And that's what I was trying. If I had another camera, then I can go on another platform live because I have another phone. And I don't know if it's going to work. Especially if it's asking me to do it. Bring your old data. Skip this for now. Yep. Connected by everything. Some people's children. Honestly, I don't know. It's so late. That's when I, saying I have to go extra time. Yeah. So late. Because what I want to eat, like rice, and,
Mm-hmm.
some red chips. I didn't even taste my food. That's not good, is it?
Hey, if you got it, you know how to do it. You know how to do it.
I'm not professional like that. Every time I try to be a professional like that, I know you them better. Love gravy though. Girl, I'm a gravy man. At least the meat is. Okay. I see you.
What's that?
Me eating.
Oh, you did it.
Yeah, I need a little bit more salt. A little bit more salt, but other than that, it's pretty good.
Let me see if I can do this. Boop, boop, boop.
See salt going. Guess who gave me a friend request?
Who? Mr. Who?
O'Gene. He call himself O'Gene now.
I don't know who that is.
Kyer.